Hi there. I'm watching Shaw TV, Channel 4, Saturday morning, and I'm just wondering, has your TV program, Channel 4, been hijacked by some crazed political organization? Freedom for All? I mean, this is not this is kind of strange, and I'm just wondering why you've got this Freedom for All thing on TV, public programming. It's really, really strange. Get it off the airline. It's weird. Bye.
I'm a chemtrail guy, and I'll tell you why. Look up in the sky, white streaks flying by. Got the time lapse so I can capture the blast. Here's the proof for the confused noobs. You want a pair of puppets, it's up high in the sky. It's all water vapor, why would they lie? Little ice crystals hanging out cause it's dry. Dissipate slow so they don't realize. Living in a fog like a bump on a log. Don't you worry, spray text on the dog.
Good evening and welcome to Freedom Free for All, the show that pokes the New World Order in its all-seeing eye. My name is Josh Steffler, and tonight Paul Stein joins me. Greg Hill is still on vacation. He'll be back next week. And we are broadcasting live from beautiful Victoria, British Columbia in our Freedom Studios here. Tonight, we have the legendary researcher and author on our show, Jordan Maxwell. We're going to be talking about the Cosmocrats. We're going to be talking about his new DVD, Cosmocrats, and the occult and symbology, and we're going to let Jordan talk. If you haven't heard of Jordan Maxwell, you should go to his YouTube or his website, Jordan Maxwell Videos, because you are going to discover some stuff that you never heard before. Never. Now, as always, we like to do new media shout-outs for all of our good friends fighting the New World Order with their alternative media and new media shows. Guys like Dan Dix of Press for Truth, Luke Radowski of We Are Change. We got Richard Heathen of Liberty Machine News, Kevin Proteau of Locals Supporting Locals, Sophia Smallstorm of AboutTheSky.com, Suzanne Marr, Bye Bye Blue Sky. So many people coming on the show.
Jordan Maxwell.
And Jordan Maxwell, of course, at JordanMaxwellVideos.com. Of course, we can't forget our good friend and partner, Josh Sigurdsson, over at World Alternative Media. This guy is pumping out new videos and reports every day. He's got an amazing report right now on the gold incident in Texas and how Soros is implicated. Go check him out. And of course, we got the New Agora, the newspaper that critical thinkers like Paul here pick up when he's sick and tired of the mainstream lies and corporate disinformation, the fake news. You can find them at newagora.ca, or you can go to cannabis dispensaries and health food stores all over British Columbia and actually get a hard copy. Like I said, if you go to newagora.ca, talk to them there, they'll actually mail you a copy. So support new media, because this is the only place you're going to hear guys like Jordan Maxwell. We will be right back and start the show with right after this video from Greg Hill down at the United Nations. Check this out.
This is Greg Hill with Freedom Free for All TV. I'm in New York City. I'm actually just visited inside the United Nations World Headquarters here in Manhattan, New York. And wow, it was just crazy, esoteric, lots of weird pictures. They had like goats with human heads on top of them. They had like all this weird shit. So I don't know, man. There's a huge lineup of people behind me waiting to get in, and I don't think I'll ever go back in there. They had a gift shop, and I went to the bookshop and took pictures of all the weird books. Joseph Stiglitz, economist, just globalist, man, just crazy. So shout out to my boys who have Freedom Free for All and all of our fans and viewers, supporters. Greg Hill signing out.
Okay, welcome to Freedom Free for All. Thank you for joining us tonight. We've got Jordan Maxwell on the show. This is the part of the show where we'll discuss a couple articles and stuff. This isn't going on television. This is on the internet. It's for our loyal live stream viewers. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
So, of course, the first one that we want to talk about is this glowing orb. I'm sure you've seen the picture by now of the Saudi princes and Donald Trump touching this glowing golden orb, almost like three necromancers activating some dark ritual magic. This is, of course, it turns out that this glowing orb actually, they say, fights terrorism. You can
Extremism.
You can trust Saudi Arabia to fight extremism.
That is why we spent, $30 billion, and the states spent $320 billion in Saudi Arabia, so that we could fight these extremists.
So, Jordan, what do you think about? I'm sure you've seen this picture by now. The Donald Trump touching that glowing orb. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I try not to miss too much.
Yeah.
But I have not seen that particular picture. And the reason why is because I'm not very keen on, events of the day. I don't ever watch TV. I never watch anything that has to do with the news or media.
Yeah.
I don't read any newspapers. I have nothing to do with any of that nonsense. And so, but I'm interested in all things hidden and all of the hidden implications of words and terms and symbols. So I try not to miss too much, but I haven't seen that picture that you're talking about. But nothing surprises me, because in this world, on this earth, if you're going to be in politics, you're going to be a part of a preternatural presence on the earth. A lot of people used to call it supernatural, meaning spiritual or not of this world. But supernatural is not a correct term. Supernatural simply means it's natural, but it's very natural. It's supernatural. No, the correct term is preternatural, which means not of this world. It has nothing to do with the world that you live in. It's from somewhere else. And so if you're going to be in politics, you're going to be a part of a hidden world of power that is dominated by dark spirits.
Well, if you saw this picture, you would say that it looks dark and like they're doing something wrong.
Well, you can just imagine what they're doing. They're hovering over this glowing orb that's, it's unbelievable.
So our next article we want to talk about is how Canada must stick to its word on the Saudi arms deal. So another Saudi Arabia thing. Our illustrious leader, Shiny Pony Justin Trudeau, says that we have to send money to fund Saudi arms.
Well, I did a report on it maybe a year ago when Trudeau came into power, and I showed a video in which Trudeau said, this was Stephen Harper's deal, therefore Canada must, obey and honor its agreements, and that we shall do this.
Oh, so what do you think about this, Jordan? Do you think that we should stick to our deal and continue funding and buying weapons of mass destruction with Saudi Arabia?
Well, like I said, if you're going to be in power of any kind in any country on the earth at any time, you're going to be part of that system of power.
Yeah.
That system of power that actually rides shotgun on the whole world. Therefore, you're not going to become a senator or a congressman or a president or any kind of an official of any importance in this world unless you are a part of the secret operation of power in this world. People in organized crime like the mafia, they know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
People in organized criminal syndicates around the world, from the Chinese Tang Society and the Italian mafiosi and all of the Russian mafia, and you can go down the line, all the international criminal syndicates and organizations.
Yeah.
Well, that's the correct term, organizations, and meaning that the criminality of the world we live in is highly organized. And as such, you do not get to be a part of it unless you want to join it. And so if you are important in this world, It means that you have joined a very powerful, dark criminal syndicates which run the planet Earth. So that's why nothing surprises me, and I'm not interested to read the newspapers or see the late news because I already know what's going
There
on.
is one article that I think you'll really be able to touch on, and it's this Notre Dame students that walk out of a Mike Pence commencement address, and they've got this sign that says, "Love trumps hate," but they're in these black robes with the black, the black graduation cap. Maybe you could touch on that. Like,
Yeah, what's the hidden meaning behind that?
What's the hidden
cap?
meaning behind that cap
Yes.
and that dark gown?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that for thousands of years, the black robes and black in general, as it's used in theology and government, represents a particular god. A lot of people don't know that, but black represents the planet Saturn. Saturn is, if you go to the encyclopedias and reference works on the astrological colors associated with planets, Saturn is always black. And this is why the priests who worship the planet Saturn wear black robes. I mean, the Catholic Church, the priests in the different Protestant religions that wear black robes, and then, of course, when you're graduating from university, from college, from high school, you're wearing a black robe because the god of this world, according to the power players of this world, is the planet Saturn. Saturn was referred to as the Lord of the Rings. And Hollywood is still making movies about the god of this world called Lord of the Rings.
And they make it cool.
Saturn is Lord of the Rings. This is why men were told thousands of years ago in the Middle East, if you're going to get married, you get married before God, the Lord of the Rings, so you wear a wedding or an engagement ring. Women were supposed to listen to their god, so they would wear an ear ring. When you get inside of an organization that God has put together, Saturn has put together, you're in the ring. And so the very symbol of the black robes represent the planet Saturn, or the god Saturn. And this is why judges, of course, wear black robes, and rabbis wear black robes, and kids graduating from colleges wear black robes, and they wear a square mortarboard. All the young people around the world who graduate from universities and colleges have no idea in the world where these symbols really actually come from. And what you're doing by wearing these symbols on you is like another example is like tattoos. So many people around the world, especially in America, North America, getting tattoos, having no idea in the world what tattooing a human body implies. It's an extraordinary, deep, and dark secret. And people are so incredibly ignorant, they don't know, they don't read, they don't understand. And so they just go along with whatever the neighbors are doing, whatever the kids in the school are doing, just go along to get along. I always, even as a child, I always realized the adults around me do not have any answers to my questions. So that tells me that adults are not to be trusted.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they're talking about.
So what is the representation of that square-canted square on their head?
Look up Saturn in the encyclopedias. Look it up in the go to the seminaries, Christian and Jewish seminaries, and look up the planet Saturn, and you will find that the occult, simply meaning the hidden occult means the same thing. The hidden symbol of the planet Saturn, his appearance to the world is with a black robe. But the occult or hidden symbolism, it gets even more interesting. Saturn is represented in the occult world by a black square. And so look it up in the dictionaries, in religious encyclopedias. Look up the black square, and it will tell you a symbol for Saturn, the god today on the Earth is the planet Saturn. So, like I said, Hollywood's making movies about Lord of the Rings and the Saturnian religions and anything which we refer to in this world as Saturnian. Saturnian means the military, police, sheriff, government, mafia, or organized crime, fire department, anything that has a structure of power that represents power that you can't deal with. That's called Saturnian. Look it up. Look up the word. Saturnian is the presence of profound power. And so the military, profound power. Organized crime, there's profound power. Well, that's Saturnian. So that tells you something about the religions and the government of this world that are worshiping the planet Saturn with their square mortarboard and their black robes, coming out of college, never realizing for a moment what you are really into. And it's a fascinating story about how much the human race does not know about the symbols around them, where things come from, why we use certain words and terms and symbols. And young people are they're born into this world, and they grow up in the system that they live in, and they accept anything that their parents are doing and their friends are doing at school, and so they just grow up without thinking about it. Well, I was different. I was always thinking about, what am I doing? Why am I saying this and that in a church? Why do I have to do this and do that? Even as a child, I used to ask adults, and they wouldn't be able to give me any answers, so I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah, I used to get into quite a bit of trouble in Sunday school for asking questions to the adult teachers, and they did not like the questions that I had because I was a kid, and so, I wasn't fully indoctrinated yet, and, called out the teachers on hypocrisy and why are you saying this but not doing that, and
well, let me give you an example, a quick one. I know we all don't have a whole lot of time, but let me give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. When I was like 8 or 9 years old, I don't know, maybe 10, I was born and raised in the Catholic Church. And so in the Catholic Church, there is a ritual for 8, 9, 10-year-old children. It's called confirmation. And that is to confirm that you are a Catholic as a child. And so confirmation was a very big thing in the Catholic Church for children. And so we were told in the Catholic school, the nuns told us, now tomorrow night when we go to church, tomorrow evening as a special occasion, and it's going to be confirmation. And after the service is over, the bishop might possibly, maybe not, but the bishop might possibly say to you children that if you have any questions, now that you're a confirmed Catholic, he will try and answer them for you. Yeah. So remember, if the bishop asks you if you have any questions, you remember, keep your mouth shut. You do not have any questions, period.
Yeah.
Keep your mouth shut. So the next night after the church service was over and all the children were confirmed and the ritual was over, the bishop did just that from the altar. He said, now that you children are confirmed Catholic, if you have any questions while your bishop is here, I'll try and answer them for you if I can. And so everyone knew not to say anything, so I stood up to make sure everybody knew why. So I said, yes, I have a question. I said, my father works with torches, like a welder.
Yeah.
I said, if I were standing next to an angel and I had a torch, could I burn him with a torch? Would it hurt him? If I hit him with the torch, would it hurt him? And he said, well, no. I said, why not? And he said, well, fire, he said something to the effect that fire is a natural phenomenon. You have to have plastic or paper or wood or something to burn. That's in the physical world. But when you can't burn an angel. And I said, why not? He said, well, because angels are not physical, they're spiritual. And you can't burn a spirit. And I said, well, then why am I so concerned about going to hell where my spirit will burn forever if you can't burn a spirit?
But you can't battle logic with belief, right?
As a 9-year-old child, I was already thinking. And so the bishop didn't know how to answer. It was very quiet in the church all of a sudden. And the Catholic priest that was overseeing the children, he said, sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
So I realized at that moment, if a bishop can't answer my questions, I'm not about to ask my parents or anybody else around town, because the bishop himself never even thought about such a thing. So I understood, that the adults in this world are not highly educated. They're not well read. They don't question anything, so that's why the world is in the mess it's in today. But I've been questioning, reading, studying, researching, writing. My work has provided the basis for television shows, radio shows,
Movies,
books, all kinds of stuff in Hollywood. For the past 56 years, I have been in Hollywood promoting education, knowledge, understanding the occult or hidden world. Just a fascinating world that we don't even know exists. Another classic example, if we have a few moments, I'd like to tell you that you don't own anything. Zero. You don't own your home. I don't care if you paid cash for your house, your car. I don't care what you paid cash for. You don't own it.
Who owns it?
Unless you buy something with an allodial title. It's spelled ALLODIAL. Look it up in a dictionary. Allodial. ALLODIAL. Allodial title means that you absolutely own something. It's yours, and no one can touch it. No government, no one can touch it. This because it's owned by you. That's in the original maritime admiralty law of the world we live in. Allodial title means you own it, and you don't own nothing in a allodial title.
That's true.
And the reason why is because you never paid for anything.
That's right.
You've never paid for anything. You don't have any money. And I don't care how wealthy you are, you don't have any money to pay for anything. Therefore, and keep this in mind, in North America and in the Western world in general, you do not pay a bill. The law actually says you cannot pay a bill. You can discharge a debt, but you cannot pay a bill. Why? Because you don't have any money. So you've never paid for anything, therefore you don't own anything. Now let me show you how that works. And it might explain the monetary system that you are living with in Canada now. Suppose, as an example, when I'm showing you, you don't pay for nothing.
Okay.
And therefore you don't own anything. Suppose you are a painter and I want my office painted. So I call you and you come over and see the job I have for you. And if you agree, I say, okay, how much is it going to cost me? Then you think about it and you say $100. Okay, so it's $100 to paint my room. Now, when you get through with the job, the way it works in commerce is that you give me a bill. After the job is over, you hand me a bill for $100. I then take out my wallet and I pull out a $100 bill and give it to you, and now you're paid. But you're not paid. You gave me a bill for $100. I gave you a $100 bill. If you had given me a bill for $20, I'd give you a $20 bill. If you had given me a bill for $10, I give you a $10 bill. That's why it's called a bill, because now you owe me $100. I gave you a bill for $100, $100 bill. So what I've done is I haven't paid you anything, but I neutralize the debt.
That's right.
In other words, now you owe me 100 and I owe you 100, so we call it even, as long as you keep a record of it.
Yeah, I remember when
that's
you.
the way money works. You don't own nothing because you never paid for anything.
I remember, I think it was one of your videos, Jordan, that talked about the sexual connotation to charge, a charge and a discharge. And you charge something with your credit card and you discharge it when you pay it off. And all of that is very sexual in nature.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Money and religion, all the religions of the world, are based on sex. Period. End of sentence.
It's been what's controlling us.
This is why there's pedophilia deep ridden in every religion almost.
Every one. In Christianity, we don't even have to talk about that.
No,
we know about all
it
the
all,
stuff
right?
going on at the
Knowledge
church. Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to cut to this this really informative piece by Dr. Tim Ball, and we are going to come back to our Shaw television portion with Jordan Maxwell. So stay tuned, and we'll see you right after this important message from Dr. Tim Ball. Hi, I'm Josh Steffler from Freedom Free for All Television. I'm here with Dr. Tim Ball. We've just had a really good show about climate change, and often, Tim, the argument comes up. You see it on Facebook, social media. 97% of the scientists agree that climate change is an issue. So in a minute or less, can you destroy that 97% argument and we can put it to bed?
Yeah, very simply, that's a consensus, and science isn't about consensus. As Einstein said, I can have 100 things that prove me right. One thing proves me wrong, it's done. But consensus is a political argument. It grew out of Al Gore's comment that the science has settled, the debate is over. So once the majority, that's it. But the number was, the 97% number was actually created by John Cook out of Queensland University in Australia. And what he did was that he took 11,400 and some journal articles, and he identified them as being pro-global warming or not. And it was published as that, in the 97% figure, and of course Obama's repeating it. But people like Lord Monckton and others went and broke it down, and by their own definition, only 41 of the 11,400 articles were pro-global warming. And so that meant that it was actually, what they put out as 97% result was actually 0.3%.
So it's just propaganda.
It's just propaganda, and it was deliberately created. The journal that published the article withdrew the article. And so
there you have it. The argument's destroyed.
Yes.
FreedomFreeForAll.com, 97% of the scientists don't agree. Check out Dr. Tim Ball at timball.com, Freedom Free for All at freedomfreeforall.com. Be safe and be free.
Here we go.
And I'll do the Shaw intro.
Here we go. 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to Freedom Free for All, the show that pokes the New World Order in its all-seeing eye. If you are watching this show on Shaw Television, you are watching a pre-recorded broadcast. We broadcast this show live every Tuesday night from our Freedom Studios. You can watch it live on YouTube or go to our website, freedomfreeforall.com, where we stream it every Tuesday night at 7:30. If you log into YouTube, you can participate in the live chat, where there's a whole bunch of conversation going on. Our viewers can ask questions of our guests, and it's a real interactive show where we're not just talking at you, but there's a whole conversation going on. Our guest tonight is the legendary researcher and author Jordan Maxwell. We're going to be talking about his new DVD called Cosmocrats. You saw a copy of that earlier when we opened up the show. So Jordan, welcome to Freedom Free for All. Thanks for joining us today. Well,
thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
So maybe you could give our our viewers just a quick synopsis. What are Cosmocrats? Who are they?
Well, I have a new video, as you said, and I call it Cosmocrats, because the word krats is a Greek word which means rulers, like Democrats and plutocrats. So krats is a ruler, and cosmo in the Greek language means earth or the world. And so therefore, if you are a cosmocrat, it means you're the ruler of the world. And we do have people who are at that point in life where they do rule our world. We will never know who they are specifically at any one time, but there is a system of power in this world that all kinds of important people throughout the ages have talked about. An unseen power in this world that will put you into office or take you out. They don't care if you're John Kennedy and you're handsome and young and brilliant and intelligent and wealthy. They'll kill you so fast and make your head spin if you get out of line.
Yeah.
And so, or you can be a worthless criminal, useless, mentally deranged criminal, but if you know how to go along to get along and promise to do what you're being told, then they can make you president. They can make you wealthy. They can make you a movie star. And if they find out you are not going along with the program, they can kill you. So you need to understand that the world of politics, religion, government, finances, banking, everything, all the different institutions that have been set up in the world to regulate our life and our destiny are controlled by very, very powerful people.
So for the benefit of our viewers here in Victoria, BC, what is the purpose? Like, what is the position that Trudeau and Trump hold? Are they really the pinnacle of power? You mentioned this earlier in the conversation that we had before the show. Maybe tell our viewers a little bit about what modern governments are and what they represent. What do these actual leaders represent today?
Well, like the movie A Few Good Men, I don't know if you're ready for the truth. Because the real truth has been known for a long, long time. As a matter of fact, I go back some 56 years ago. I started talking about, this is back in 1959 and 60. I was giving lectures in Los Angeles on secret societies and occult orders, the hidden world of power in our world, what's really going on behind banking throughout the world, and governments and religions and churches and synagogues, and the presence of Islamic religion. Where did it come from? Where do all of these powerful organizations like FBI and CIA, where did they actually in absolute fact come from? Then you begin to get into a whole world which is referred to as occult. You probably have heard the word occult. It simply means in Latin hidden. So if you put your hand in your pocket, dictionary definition of your hand in your pocket is an occult hand. Why? Because it's hidden.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's evil and devil and all this other nonsense. It's a word which means hidden. And so there is a hidden world of finance. I mean, it has nothing to do with your little Mickey Mouse thing that you do every day, going to buy groceries and put money in a bank and enjoy writing a check. No. International maritime admiralty world of finance throughout the world is a very big subject.
Yes.
It doesn't have anything to do with your little Mickey Mouse lifestyle and what you're doing. You need to look at this from a world-class view of how the earth handles money. And once you begin to see that money is part of the system, it's the blood that pumps the heart, that keeps the body going. It's an extraordinary subject when you begin to see how the world really works.
Well, in your DVD, Cosmocrats, you talk a lot about the sun cult, and you talk about how the symbols for the symbol-minded are, they use the symbol of the rising sun and the dawning of a new day. And, in British Columbia, I don't know if you've seen our flag, but it is the Union Jack with a picture of the rising sun in front of the ocean. Maybe you could talk on the symbology behind that.
I think if you look back when Obama was running for president, that was his symbol, the
That's right.
rising sun over the ocean.
And Hillary Clinton's slogan was the dawning of a new day.
That's right, and that's the same words that were used for the Soviet National Coat of Arms.
And so is our flag a Soviet flag?
Say it again?
Is our BC flag like a Cosmocrat, a communist flag with that rising sun on it?
It's bigger than that. It's far bigger than that. Far bigger. I mean, when you talk about organized crime and you've got some gang in town, that people know as an organized gang, that's not the five families of New York. You want to talk about gangs? Yeah, let's talk about the big gangs. That's where the real action is.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing is true with the flag of the British Columbia. Yeah, you want to talk about the sun rising on the waters? Yes, there is a connection to the world revolutionary movement, or what we call Marxist communism, but it's far, far bigger than that. This thing goes back 1,000 years. The book you really need to get, you really have to get, is a very important book. I always recommend it to everyone. It's a book written by James Billington, Billington, James Billington. And James Billington today is the chief librarian for the Library of Congress. So he's not a slouch. He's not a Johnny-come-lately. This is mainstream historian who is the chief librarian for the Library of Congress. And he has written a book called Fire in the Minds of Men. Read the book. Get it. You can buy it anywhere. Fire in the Minds of Men, where he explains the secret, powerful world governments, world religions, world banking, how the earth really works behind the scenes, or what we call the occult world of power. And in that, he talks extensively about the symbol of the rising sun and how the rising sun symbol, this is why Jesus is referred to in the Bible as God's Son, the light of the world. Of course, the sun is the light of the world, and that he is our risen Savior. Of course, the sun is your risen Savior. If it doesn't come up tomorrow, we're dead in 3 weeks. So once you understand that the Bible says Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Why? Simple. Because all the official symbols, titles, money, coins, badges, national coats of arms, hallertry, corporate logos, all officialdom all over the world in every language uses the sun as a main symbol. Everywhere, from China to Africa to Asia to America to Europe, the sun is the most important symbol for power on the earth. Well, obviously, you can see why that would be, because in point of fact, the sun is the most powerful presence in human life on the earth. Without the sun, you wouldn't even be here. If it doesn't rise tomorrow, because he's our risen Savior, but if it doesn't rise tomorrow, in 3 weeks we're dead. So it is your Savior. So once you understand that Christianity is a metaphor and the symbol of the sun is very important to the dark powers of this world, to all the underworld criminal organizations around the world that we call governments, that are involved in wars and violence, selling and manipulating drugs, alcoholism, violence, Uh, all of the darkness that's going on in the world today is going on because the governments want it that way. If they didn't want something, believe me, if the Canadian government did not want something really bad, they don't want it, it wouldn't be around. Whatever it is, somebody will have to get killed if necessary. Somebody will have to die. But if the government decides that we will not have this thing, whatever it is, then you're not going to have it.
No. Well, it seems like that's freedom and liberty. That seems that what they're killing us. But the majority of, for the benefit of our viewers, the majority of what Jordan's talking about is this DVD. He goes into depth about it, and it's the Cosmocrats DVD that you can find on his website, jordanmaxwelldvds.com.
No, Jordan Maxwell Videos.
Videos.com. Sorry, yeah. Jordan. And
also my website. You could get it from my website also. I got 2 or 3 websites, but my main website is Jordan Maxwell Show. There are other websites out there with Jordan Maxwell, but that's not me.
Okay.
Jordan Maxwell Show is my website. So if you go on jordanmaxwellshow.com, you will see right there on the home page an advertisement for my 2 new videos.
Yeah, excellent.
Click on it and order it if you wish.
Where we picked them up.
And I just Googled, I've been searching this kind of information a long time. I think most of us have, and a lot of the people that watch our show online have also researched this information. So what you've presented and the work you've done, Jordan, is superb. It's a mentor. You're a mentor of ours. I don't think you get nearly enough credit, the credit that you deserve for the work that you've done. And just even going on YouTube, some of the videos that I came across this morning was the Genesis Translated, Hidden History, the Occult of Saturn, the Queen of England Exposed, Monotheism in Psalms 82, the Matrix of Power, the Naked Truth. There were so many videos on YouTube that I grew up watching.
Yeah.
And that has helped me get a broader understanding of Admiralty Maritime Law, of the occult, of the esoteric. So I thank you, Jordan, and I appreciate, and I'm sure most people do appreciate what you have done.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
So Jordan, we've got about 9 minutes left on the show. What's the most important thing you want to get out there for our television viewers at home?
I would like to say that nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. The churches are not what you think they are. The synagogue is not what you think it is. The mosque is not what you think it is. Your religion is not what you think it is. Your government, your institutions of education, law enforcement, banking, none of these institutions and none of the world in which you live works the way you think it does. And unless and until you educate yourself, you're not going to be able to do anything about helping yourself or protecting your family or protecting yourself. Because the people of any country, especially in North America and Canada and America, the people do not have any power to do anything. Of course, you can elect your leaders, but you can't select your leaders. And so the point I'm making here is that you do not have, if you're living in Canada or America or the rest of the world for that matter, but you do not have any power to really change anything. Why? Because knowledge is power. And until and unless you have knowledge, knowing how things really work, which I can guarantee you do not know. You pick a subject and I'll tell you the things that you've never heard about the subject. You want to talk about banking? We can talk about that. And it doesn't work the way you think it does. Money is not what you think it is.
No.
You want to talk about law and where laws come from and how the government is founded and who Trudeau really is and not who you thought he was? Where governments come from, why do we have wars and violence and revolutions around the world? All of this is orchestrated. Most likely people will understand things happen not by chance. Nothing happens by chance. Even Franklin Roosevelt, back in the 30s, when the President of the United States said publicly anything that happens in politics in the world today, this is back in 1930s,
Yeah.
Franklin D. Roosevelt said, anything that happens in politics around the world was planned that way. There are no accidents.
So these guys have been in control for a long time.
Of course they
A
have.
long time. And is it this sun cult that is running
Oh yes.
running
Well,
the show?
that's the yeah. Now we get back to the sun cult. You know, the sun, the symbol of the sun rising over two mountains goes back to actually Hindu. That's another point I think you need to understand. The three major religions of the world: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. All three have a parent religion. All three come from the same place.
Mithras.
Christianity, Judaism, and Islam comes from Hindu. They are Hindu religions. And unless you understand that India is the parent of the three major religions of the world today, then you begin to see everything falls apart. Everything begins to make sense when you finally see how the world you live in was founded thousands of years ago. We could do an 8-hour show just on theology and religion.
And Brad Rhodes would love it.
Oh yeah, you know, just go on YouTube. You got 8 hours of content right there. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to do an 8-hour session explaining religion, because all three, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, claim that their founder was Abraham. Abraham was their father. Well, actually, in fact, provable history,
Yeah.
Abraham never existed. There was no Abraham. So I don't care what the different religions claim that their father is Abraham. There was no Abraham. Never existed. And so if that be the case, which it is, then of what value is Islam, Christianity, and Judaism if there was no Abraham?
Maybe there was an Abra steak. Or
It goes all the way back to
chicken breast.
India. All the way back to India. Because in India, thousands of years ago, back at the time of the ancient Egyptians, many thousands of years ago, and even still today in India, there was a priesthood. The priesthood were called Brahmins. And Brahmins, the Brahmin priest was said to be, quote, God's chosen people. Where we heard that before. And so they were God's chosen people, the Brahmin priest of India. And so if you take the word Brahmin and put an A in front of it, it becomes Abrahman. And so if we go back to the Bible, you will see that Abraham in Genesis was originally named Abram. A-B-R-A-M, Abram. Later on, we're told that God changed Abram's name to Abraham. No, it's not Abraham or Abram, because Abram is A-B-R-A-M. A-B in the ancient language of Middle East, A-B was father. Ab was your father, and Ram, R-A-M, was the ram god, or Aries. Aries, the ram, the constellation of the ram. This is why all over Egypt you find the ram god with the sun disk on his head. So we're talking about ancient religion going back to India, and the priests of that ancient religion were called Brahmins, or a Brahmin, and then the Brahmin priest had a female goddess, which was very important to them, very important. And that female goddess was called Saraswati. And they even have a very big river that used to run through India called the Saraswati River, in which the Brahmins, or Abrahams, or Abraham and Sarah, no, Saraswati, a Brahmin, India.
Jordan, I gotta interrupt you here. We got about 90 seconds left for our Shaw portion, but you're gonna stick around and we're gonna talk more on the internet portion. So hopefully our viewers will come over to our website, freedomfreeforall.com, to watch the continuation of this show. Where can viewers find out more information about all of the stuff that you've done, Jordan? Your website or your...
Jordan, I go to Jordan Maxwell Show, SHOW.com. Jordan Maxwell Show is my website. So go to jordanmaxwellshow.com and you will see the new videos I have. And there's also a research website that I'm inviting you to join. Go back and read about it.
So, I really want to thank you, Jordan, for coming on. You've been a mentor to many of us over here at freedomfreeforall.com.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to thank our viewers at Shaw for tuning in. Be sure to come over to our website to watch all of our videos, not just with Jordan Maxwell, but we've got numerous researchers and authors. When we go to our overdrive, we're actually going to ask Jordan a few questions about Paul Hellyer. You know, he's our defense minister, talked about extraterrestrials and the Pierre Trudeau connection. So until next Tuesday, be safe and be free.
Yeah, so these rat cards you picked up from Sophia Smallstrom are amazing. I see lines like this in Esquimalt all the time.
So do I, all over Langford and Victoria. And you ever notice how they mush into that white mush all over the sky?
Yeah, I take pictures of them all the time.
Do you take pictures like this anytime? Because we could use your pictures.
So send us your pictures and your name to comments at freedomfreeforall.com and we'll give you some of these rat cards to give to your friends.
Pat Brown.
Oh, we're back live. So my name's Josh Steffler. I'm joined by Paul Stein. This is the internet portion. We're just talking with Jordan Maxwell, legendary researcher, author, talking about the occult and his new DVD, Cosmocrats. And we're just coming off our Shaw portion. If you're coming to us online, you know, we just broadcast our Shaw portion. I want to thank all of our live stream viewers for tuning in. So, Jordan, we were discussing just briefly there about Pierre Trudeau, the father of our current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and how he had this defense minister, Paul Hellyer, who has stated unequivocally that there are extraterrestrials, the governments are working with them, and many of them, I believe, he said, have come from Saturn. Maybe you could comment on some of this stuff.
Well, I've been commenting on this exact subject for almost 54 years now. I started talking about the extraterrestrial presence on the world scene, behind the world scene, back in 1960, 61, and 62, a year before John Kennedy was assassinated. I was giving lectures about the extraterrestrial presence on the Earth. And so I've been talking about this for almost now, pretty close to 65 years now. So it's nothing new to me. The only thing new is I am amazed to finally see people starting to wake up to the very real possibility there might be something to this. Because in point of fact, I knew a long time ago the extraterrestrial connection to the Earth is very valid.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
very
just have to look at
legitimate.
Any religion. And if you didn't
Any
know that they were
hieroglyphic,
religions, you would assume that, oh yeah, they're talking about aliens. They're talking about people coming from off the planet.
It's almost absurd to it's almost absurd to have an assumption that there is nothing out there.
Yeah.
That's almost the absurdity of it.
Yeah, like the boogeyman. Don't worry, but nothing out there. Oh yeah.
So Jordan, can you? I remember watching this video series about explaining about how Jesus Christ is actually Saturn, the Roman god. You know, is Jesus Saturn? Our modern depiction of Jesus.
No,
Christ?
I think you've got a couple of videos mixed up. Jesus is Lucifer.
Ooh. Isn't Lucifer Saturn? Are they?
Well, no,
Okay.
Lucifer is is not Saturn. No, but the church has see this whole idea about Lucifer and the devil and all of these subjects were caused by Saint Jerome. Go back and look in the history of the Catholic Church during the early Middle Ages, and there was a Catholic priest named Jerome. And he took the old Hebrew or Phoenician Canaanite text that we call the Old Testament. But no, it was the ancient Phoenician Canaanite religion, and he translated it for Europe into Latin for the Latin Catholic Church. And so when Jerome was translating the ancient texts from the Middle East, which we today call the Old Testament, well, in Latin, he was very good with the king's Latin. He was very good at translating, but he did make some errors and mistakes, and not many, but there were a few. And the church picked up on some of those mistakes and promoted them, so that today there's confusion all about the difference between Satan or Lucifer or the devil. All of these words and terms, and what do they really mean? Well, nobody seems to know anymore. Everybody's got a different idea. But if you just take the very word evil and put a D, like David, D in front of evil becomes devil.
Yeah.
And take an O out of the root word God, take the O out of the root word good, becomes God, G-O-D. So God is good, devil is evil.
Yeah.
And then when you begin to break down the other words in church and find out where the word church really comes from, it will blow your mind when you understand what the very word church means and where it came from and how it's translated and been misunderstood for thousands of years by Christians who do not read, do not understand what's going on. They just born and raised into a religion, and they have no idea where it came from, and when they die, they have no idea where they're going. And the whole time they were here, they never had any idea what was going on. And so if you want to back up and go back to the history books and find out where these words have come from, where these ideas and concepts and religious belief systems have come from, you will find there's a whole world of hidden knowledge that you have never been told about. And that's where it really gets interesting.
That is where it gets interesting. Jordan, you've talked a lot about the sun cult and these guys that are running, not to assume genders, of course, but these people that are running this dark cult that runs the world. People may say that, oh, well, if it's impossible to defeat these people, we should just give up. Are we able to defeat them? How do we defeat them? And maybe you could answer those questions.
I would say this, and you're asking for a subjective opinion.
Okay.
I should say first off, before answering it, I'm not the world's foremost authority on anything. I'm simply an ordinary man in the pursuit of extraordinary knowledge. There's nothing holy or special about me.
No.
I'm just fascinated with how much people don't know. And so I've spent my whole life, some 56 years of my life, reading, studying, traveling around the world, talking to people, talking to experts. I've been in the company of all sorts of experts around the world that you have no idea in the world that I know, that I have talked with about what's going on the earth. And so after doing that for some 50 years or more, I am now trying my best to wake people up to the fact that you don't know how your world works. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what the words mean. You just use words like God and spirit and heaven and government. Angels and banks and money, government.
Bills.
Yeah.
Well,
military.
People hold opinions. They don't have opinions. They hold opinions until another opinion comes around and they let that go, and then that changes, right? Yeah. And it's constantly what normal is constantly changing, and people just don't know. People don't know what's going on. I often say that people only do what they know. Because if you don't know anything different, then how could you possibly do anything different other than making a mistake or fluking out, right? So as you say...
Yeah, well, here's another thing you need to keep in mind that most people have never thought about it because it's so foreign to their imagination. But you are, from a culture. If you were born in China, in the middle of China, then you would have the religion of the people of China around you, and that's what you grew up to believe. You're in. That's where you come from. But unless you happen to have been born in Africa, then of course you would be surrounded by an African presence in a religion, and that's who you are. That's who you believe. Unless of course you were born in Europe into a Christian community of Europe, or unless of course you were born into India, where there's a Hindu or a Muslim presence. And so people are where they were born. That's all. Wherever you were born, that's who you are. And so, obviously, if that's who you are, then you are telling everybody about how you understand things, and you have the whole truth, and everybody else is full of bull, but you have the truth. Until you understand, no, your belief system is based on where you were born. Period.
Totally.
So the smart thing to do is what the Masonic Order has done, and that is to explain to the human race of mankind all the religions of this world are just based on where you happen by chance to have been born. And it has nothing to do with you personally being holy and righteous, and the Lord loves you. And everybody else can go to hell. No, the bottom line in the world we live in is that what you believe in your religion, in your government, in your life, and your country is based on your culture, the people around you. You speak the same language they do. You eat the same foods they eat. You drive the cars the way they do. So you grew up in that culture, and so that culture is who you are and what you do. It doesn't mean you're God's chosen people. It just means you happen by chance to have been born in Canada. Well, you could have by chance been born into India.
Totally, yeah.
Or you could be by chance born into Africa. And so once you understand that, then you begin to appreciate. Yeah, that would be interesting. They have all the men of the world come together, which is the Masonic ideal. All men come together and realize that all the belief systems that you hold and all the things that you hold to be true and dear aren't. They're just your belief system of your country and your culture and your people. But that doesn't mean they're true. It just means that's what Canada is into. Well, that just means what Africa is into. It just means what the Middle East and Arabs are into. It doesn't mean it's true.
It brings to mind that piece from the U.S. Pledge of, I think it's the Pledge of Allegiance, where they say that we hold these truths to be self-evident. And
yeah, well, that's in the Constitution.
Or in the Constitution, yeah, and it's so far from the truth. Nothing of those truths are self-evident at all, and
but I think the movie The Matrix really put it out in symbolic form when he said, take the blue pill or the red pill. You take the blue pill, you go back to bed, you wake up tomorrow, you go back to work. Take the red pill and you go down the rabbit hole. And
so I had a book out quite a few years before that called Matrix.
That's right.
I never got any money from Hollywood.
No.
I never got anything.
But
Nobody
do you think the Wachowski brothers read your book?
Say it again?
The guys that created that Matrix movie, the Wachowski brothers, you're sure that they must have read that?
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that.
But it's called The Matrix of Power, Secrets of World Control,
That's right.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, my book was talking about the same identical thing the movie was.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that as it turns out, I have a book out before the movie.
There you go.
Long before the movie. Talking about, and the name of the book was The Matrix of Power. And I'm explaining all the hidden symbolisms and all the strange technology of the world to manipulate the human race. That's what my book was about. Then later on, a movie comes out called Matrix. I didn't say that they used my book for that movie. I'm just stating a fact. I had a book come out called The Matrix a long time before the book.
Yeah.
But I know that my work has been used by Hollywood because I've lived there for some 56 years. I used to go around to studios at night giving private lectures to groups in the studios. At night, they would get me a pass, and I would go over to the major studios at night and do private lectures and private slide presentations on secret societies, fraternal orders, Illuminati, the Federal Reserve, Knights Templars, the secret orders of organized crime, etc., etc. For years, I used to go around to all the motion picture studios at night and giving lectures just to the working class people who happened to be there. None of the big shots were there. They didn't even know I was there. And so, therefore, that kind of thinking began to permeate all over Hollywood. I was giving lectures everywhere. I was giving lectures in downtown Hollywood and Beverly Hills, and for many years, back in the 1960s and 70s and 80s. So that now today, that is the mainstay of the world today, is secret societies, the Illuminati and Federal Reserve and the end of the world and Knights Templars and Illuminati and all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff I was talking about some 60 years ago.
Well, Jordan, we've got quite a windstorm going on here, and our power is flickering. So we should have you back on our show again another time and wrap up this show for tonight. I just want to say thank you so much. You are... I find it so amazing that we're sitting in this studio talking to you. I remember waking up as, a dozen years ago and watching your videos on YouTube, watching your lectures, and I am humbled and honored to be able to speak to you today. I'm glad that with all of the hard work of Adam and Jesse behind the cameras and Paul and Greg and Brad Rhodes even have brought us to be able to actually put on a show where we have our mentors, guys with incredible wisdom and amazing orators like you on the show. So thank you so much. And
well, thank you for allowing me to be here. And my feeling is that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So when people are ready to hear the truth, hopefully I'll still be here trying to get through to people. I'm just one man by myself doing what I do for some 56 years. And I am delighted to see that these subjects that I talked about so long ago are finally now in the mainstream being talked about. But there's so much more you don't know.
We're young enough.
This is why I'm trying to put it all on my website called the Research Society. So go on my website, which is Jordan Maxwell Show. That's my website, Jordan Maxwell Show, and you will see an advertisement to join my Research Society website. So join my research website because that's where I'm uploading all of the years of audios and videos and documents and research pictures, just extraordinary stuff. I'm putting it all on that research website. So go on to Jordan Maxwell Show and you will see my videos for sale and you'll see the Research Society. You should join if you can.
Yeah, we've got it up on our screen right now. I would encourage all of our viewers to go check it out
and give Jordan Maxwell a shout. And if you think you can help him with this effort, it's not easy doing any kind of technical work, uploading stuff, all of this work. We all need help. That's how things get done, is through teamwork.
Yeah, I'm going on 77 years old, and I've lived by myself and working with nothing all of these years, but I have always understood that that's my life. That's what's been given to me to do. So I do it. But I have not had very much help in the past. Thankfully, have a few people who have come into my life who are trying to help me now, and they helped me put together a website because I'm almost 77 years old, so I don't know much about the technology. I need young people to do that for me.
That's exactly it. We're young enough to be your grandkids.
Yeah,
so all of our viewers watching, anybody who watches this in the future, absolutely reach out to Jordan. He's just your average Joe guy, just like all of us, doing work. And that's how magic is made, is through working
Teamwork
together.
and collaboration rather than
Yes.
competition.
Well, like I said, and I think it bears repeating, I'm not the world's foremost authority on anything. I'm just an ordinary man pursuing extraordinary knowledge.
Nice.
Well,
And I'm doing it now until I leave this world soon. And I will have done the best I could trying to wake people up. And it's so very, very simple. All you have to do is just go on Jordan Maxwell's show and join my research society and get my 2 videos, which are on sale right there, and keep in touch with me. And all of the new stuff coming out, I'm putting it all on my research society website. And again, I want to thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yes, exactly. We will definitely have you on the show again, Jordan. We acknowledge everything that you've done. For our viewers watching this on the live stream, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next Tuesday night. Greg Hill will be back from New York City and his vacation. We're going to be, I don't actually know who our guest is next week.
It's a special surprise.
It's a special surprise.
Yeah, just remember, New York is referred to as the Empire State.
Yeah, the Empire State.
The Empire State.
Until next Tuesday, be safe and be free.